Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you are new and you don't know, my name is Żaneta and today I want to talk about how did I learn English. As probably you already noticed, my accent is quite heavy, means I'm not an English native speaker. In fact, I was born and raised in Poland. Now I will share with you the story of my life. I started studying English when I was 7, maybe 8 years old. I don't remember exactly. It was the second half of 90s in Poland and primary schools didn't have obligatory English classes. So my parents enrolled me to several private courses. To be honest, I don't really remember if it was good or if it was bad, because I was just a kid. When I was 13 or 14, I think 13, I went to the junior high school, and this is where, for the very first time, I had the obligatory English classes at school. But trust me, it sucked. We were not split into any groups, so imagine the situation when it was like 20-25 kids in a classroom. Some of them have never heard a single word in English, and some of them, as me, already studied English in some private places. On the top of that, it was teachers. Quite a lot of them, they seemed like they didn't have any idea what they were doing, or in my opinion, some of them didn't even know English well. I remember this one particular teacher that didn't really love me too much, and I didn't really love her neither. Well, she had a reason for hating me, because I was trolling her every single class. Yes, I was this nasty, disobedient teenager. And I kind of also had a reason for behaving this way, simply because I didn't see any point, any logic in her classes, and it was extremely boring, and I was 14 years old. Imagine, I was always getting the worst grades in English and I almost didn't pass the year because of that. What was wrong about her classes? Let me tell you. For example, she would write 20 sentences in English with the Polish translation. She would order us to learn it by heart, and when it came to the test, she would give us 10 out of these 20 sentences, and she would ask us to translate it from English to Polish or from Polish to English, word by word, in the same way as it was written on the blackboard. We didn't even understand what each single particular word meant, not even talking about understanding why this is present simple, why it's past simple, why it's present continuous, nothing like that. So I think now you understand why I was making these riots in the classroom. Well, in my high school, the teacher was very cool, but still we had this problem that we were not divided into groups, so we had people quite fluent in English and also people who never studied English before. So at my first year of the high school, I enrolled to the private, super expensive, but also super intense language school. 3 times a week, 3 hours each single class, and tons of homework. We also had there 3 different teachers, one for grammar, one for writing, and one native speaker for speaking activities. Despite of being super intense, this school was very good, and also it made me start loving the language. I studied there for 4 years, and then I went to the uni to another city. At my uni, they didn't have any English class with a level that would be suitable for me, so I took the basic French classes, and again I enrolled to the private language school to continue with my English. Unfortunately, this school wasn't as good as the one before. The teacher didn't have a lot of charisma. Students were also skipping a lot of classes, so I started doing the same, unfortunately. At the 3rd year of my uni, I went for 1 year to Spain for a student exchange, and that was the very first time I had to communicate in English on a daily basis, as I didn't speak Spanish in the beginning. After 1 year in Spain, I came back for 1 year to Poland to graduate, and I didn't continue studying English in a private school. Later I was going to the private schools to study Spanish and Hebrew. Do I recommend private language schools? Yes, yes, yes. It's a very well spent money, but remember, choose the school with good recommendations. Don't go for the cheapest one because you will lose the money. Sometimes it's worth to invest a bit more, and really it will help you. After I graduated from the uni, I moved to London, and this is where I got the biggest English lesson of my life. What's my opinion of this FCE, CAE, Proficiency exams? Is it worth it? Well, I did FCE and CAE. Did this paper help me with anything in my life? Absolutely not. You don't need the paper unless, I don't know, the uni you want to apply to requires it, or maybe at some particular jobs, but they would rather hear you speaking English with confidence than having this paper. Why did I do it and why I think it's good to have it? It's not about the paper, it's about it motivates you to study. You have this particular deadline and you know you want to pass this exam because you also paid for that. So I think you work 5 times harder than usual. Now I will give you some tips and hacks how to learn English outside your language course, language school, language classes. I will share with you a nice way of learning a big amount of vocabulary. But remember, you have to start preparing yourself not the night before a test or a big exam. You need to be consistent. So for example, every single day I would write myself about 5 pieces of paper like that with something I have to learn. Let's say I've got the paper with the phrasal verb get along with. On the other side of this paper I would write what does it mean to have a friendly relationship with someone. But it can be with any kind of vocabulary you want. So I've got these pieces of paper, 5 a day. So everywhere I go, I always have these pieces of paper with me. And when I have some spare minutes, I just kind of randomly take one and look at one side. Okay, get along with. And then I try to think what's the explanation, to give the explanation in English. But it can also happen that first thing I see is the other side. To have a friendly relationship with someone. And then I have to remember what was that. And now, after every single day I use this, I put it in like some kind of big bag or box, and I prepare new ones for the next day. Each single, for example, Sunday, when I have this bag pretty full, I do the review of everything I have in this bag. Week after week, the amount of vocabulary you have in this bag will grow. So you might need a bit of extra time to practice that, but trust me, sitting down, looking at your notebook and learning everything one by one is just pointless. It's not working. And what I have to say, you can buy this kind of papers in bookshops, but I don't see any point because first, they're expensive, and second, when you write them down, you prepare it by yourself, you memorize by writing. And also you personalize them, so you put the vocabulary you really need. Second, music. I learned quite a lot trying to understand the lyrics of my favorite songs, and also I got so excited when I heard a song from my old times and I could understand more and more, you know what I mean. Also, my favorite musicians happen to be British, so it's just pure pleasure. And the most important, it's easier to memorize some sentences or some vocabulary when it comes with melody. The next thing is books. For the beginners, I would strongly recommend you reading books for children, especially the ones with a lot of illustrations. Later you might want to switch to books that you already know and try to read them in English so you will not feel lost. For me, 90% of the books I read are in English. Simply because if I read the English-speaking author, I want to read that in original. And also the thing that a lot of people are a bit scared of, I don't understand 100% of everything, especially if the book is written in the very old English. But I can get it out of the context, so I don't even check dictionary anymore to translate each single word. The next thing is movies. First, I started watching movies in English with Polish subtitles, and then I switched to English subtitles because sometimes I don't get everything, you know, they are speaking not very clearly or too fast, and I also like to see how the word is written so I can memorize it. TV and radio. You know, I haven't had a TV for like 12 years now, so I don't watch it, but I like watching BBC News in internet. Not because I love BBC, simply because of their perfect accents over there and because of the vocabulary. About the radio, in London at work, we always had the radio running somewhere in the background, and even if I wasn't really concentrated on it, my subconscious was working. Internet. I remember back then when I was a teenager, we had this chat roulette. It was like a video chat with a lot of random people from all over the world, and you were just speaking with them. Trust me, a lot of creeps there, but it was fun. Now there are dozens of Facebook groups that you can join with people that share your interest, and also YouTube. Find the niche that you love watching and watch it in English. Another thing, this is something I've never tried myself, but I really think it would help you. If you are a student, you are free on your summertime holidays, go to the English-speaking country and get a summer job. What kind of job will be the best? I really think customer service job. For example, in a pub, in a bar, in a restaurant, or in a shop. You will be exposed to a lot of people with a lot of different accents, and you will be pushed to speak. And you will be paid for that, okay? You see, I spent a lot of years in public and private schools studying English, but my biggest lesson was actually to live in London and deal with all my life, like taxes, jobs, apartments, everything by myself in English. I didn't have anybody to help me. And yes, it was hard in the beginning, but you just need some time and it's gonna be completely fine. I will tell you the last thing, but the most important. Love the language. You see, I've got a passion for English. I've never had any problems with grammar, and I'm also very into history of languages. I love learning and guessing new accents and also discovering new slangs. But it's with English. I also studied, for example, German, and I didn't have any love for German, and I don't remember a single word in German. If you feel overwhelmed, give yourself a small break or change the way you study. The worst thing that can happen is that you push yourself too much, or there are other people that will insist on you speaking right here, right now, without giving you a time to breathe. You will feel burned out and it will block you. Sorry. Also, don't be afraid or ashamed. You hear my accent? It's still heavy. So what? Probably I will never get rid of that. And why would I even want to get rid of that? I love my accent. And come on, even native speakers make mistakes. Remember, the main language purpose is to communicate. If you understand and you are understood, mission completed. You can't wait for the day that your English is just spotless and perfect, because this day will probably never come. Okay guys, that's it for today. Let me know in the comments down below what are your tips to learn new languages. I hope I helped you. If you like this video, please give me some thumbs up, comment down below, and consider subscribing my channel. It will make me extremely happy. You can also visit me on my social media, Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. I hope to see you next time. Bye bye!